Oh, yo, it finally turned on.
Oh, you're not going to. And who's gonna stop me? Hey. Oh, god damn it! Nothing like a snitch hunt to bring family closer together. I don't think that's a traditional term for us.
Right.
I know what I said. Honestly, that was...
Okay. Now then. Dang, already to 5 people. And then down to 4. Well, anyway. Case closed on the Carmelo case. Let's find out about this. Let's just see like this. No news feeds on this. We don't try to do this the old school way. In order to do we're gonna need to be able to working from my phone on this isn't gonna work all that well. Let's see. Screen share, baby. But how am I gonna screen share this? This is gonna be complex. Let's see here. All right. I'm gonna bust out this over here. Then we're gonna bust out this over it. Then we're gonna make this a smaller version that will be very effective for what we're trying to do here. And then we're gonna go straight into YouTube. Baby, let's go. Then we're gonna proceed to. I wonder if it's screen share mode that will be more efficient for what I'm trying to do here. It's there, bring it on the side like that. Put you right here. That's more effective. Okay. Case or okay. Let's see. We're gonna go with the Carmelo Anthony trial. I assumed it was the case, but that's fine. Trial recap. Those all witnesses and key evidence. Won't play while we're in this situation with the screening. It's probably a matter of screen share. Probably. Let's go with that. Share screen. Select a tab to share entire screen. Yeah, why not? There we go. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look here. The Carmelo case. Let's try to figure out what was going on with this bad boy. Track me, killer Carmelo. The matter is possible. Let's look at for someone who's no, my connection is at warning. Oh, it went back to normal. Cool. Let's see. I want to find someone credible to. Let's see if we can find the homeboy himself. Let's see. Oh, Dapper Sam is doing his thing. No, we're not looking for pictures. Yeah. Looks like it's not on my list. I'm gonna have to go through the like Toy Story. You gotta like click, find main guy. Let's see. I'm probably gonna have to look for videos that are way longer. The first video I saw on my feed was a video that was like literally 55 minutes. So let's see. No. Maybe. case video here. Yes, that's right, people. We look at Steven Crowder. We look at others, but step by step. See opinions. This is C opinions into measure out the situation and so Stephen Crowder only has one video on the matter, so he wasn't the main person I saw. But we listened to what we want to listen. Let's see, can I make this smaller? Hmm. No, I want to be able to skip over all this fluff that they're doing. I want to get to the information rather than being emotional real quick. And we'll save the emotion for afterwards. You're only guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty. To me. What is that sound? And more importantly, how do I turn the audio on for this video? Like, what the fuck? Okay. So how do I turn the audio on in a way that it hears what I'm watching? Or do I have to do this entirely differently? Gotta go into details and customization. Comments on. Okay, save that. And next details. I should probably, or I could just use my phone. Yeah. Because if the website ain't gonna do it, then I'm gonna have to use my phone. Okay, let's see. 2 devices.
10% of Black Americans who believe
Okay.
you killed an innocent person in cold blood.
Black life is not safe in Pound Pound.
Okay. Now that we finally got some audio going, it's best if I take this opportunity to make some points clear. All right. Detail 1. We're listening to this Carmelo case in order to get as much information clear as possible. So we're going to have that for knowledge is power. All right. 2. You're innocent until proven guilty to me. Okay. 3. We are accepting comments. We are accepting debates on the matter. So good, consistent discussion is in fact advised. Four, we're gonna proceed to, I brought food, so we're probably gonna be here for the log haul and all that. I'm gonna be using my phone in order to keep tabs on as much of this information as possible. Cannot show it on the screen, don't have technology like that. So if you're expecting it to be nice and fluid and for this to be, I don't know, like you're on Twitch or something, it just, you know what you signed up for if you stick around. This is for future information. I'm gonna have this for the people out there. So low quality. Just acknowledging that. In addition, one of the things I'm going to consistently touch back on is if A is representative of B, and if C, being the next step in the discussion, is relative to A, then most likely you're going to be able to consistently keep the premise of it. What does that mean? It means A equals cooperation culture. B is who, what, when, where, and why. C equals turn to A. Now, the way you like break this loop is if you're able to outsmart it in regards to the discussion at hand, or if A loses its value in terms of if it is able to reach outside of cooperation culture or conflict culture. So if you could break that loop, it's going to go all the way over here to conflict culture. So we're trying to leave conflict culture to go back into cooperation culture, but there are people who naturally want to leave cooperation culture because they feel they got their dirty in the world, which is more oftentimes than not going to be the case. They're going to return to conflict culture. So we got to be able to break the loop of the A, B, C, and then it will lead to conflict culture. But if you could leave conflict culture to go back to cooperation culture, then more oftentimes than not, I believe in the discussion at hand, we'll be able to find the reasoning as to why what is right versus what is easy, and we can clearly pick a street. And when you're able to pick a street in terms of the case for the Carmelo case, we could get to what is right, what is wrong of the situation, and be able to pick if he's in the right or if he's in the wrong, and then we'll know like where we all stand in this. Because I'm trying to get educated on the matter. Hopefully everyone else that would be coming in and be able to see this video in the future would understand how I got to where I am in regards to this case. Now, I got also introduced to this case literally this morning. Like on the dot when I woke up randomly, somehow there's a video feed in my YouTube algorithm telling me about this case, when I never focus on like race-based videos or discussion whatsoever. But then I get a random call in the first 4 minutes of me trying to watch this one video about this kid. And my friend calls me and we get into a debacle over it. So we're going to try to figure this out, try to get educated, everyone, with everyone. Cooperation culture. That's where that begins. That's why we are where we are. That's why we're trying to figure this out. Now then, 6 is where our destination is going to be leading. We get to that point after a couple of videos and from opinions from the outside looking in. So let's see where this first video is going to take us. The first video is quite literally taking place with Steven Crowder. Great public speaker. Great public speaker. Now we're going to hear him out on this. But his videos have more quality than me. I'm going to try to get past all the fluff and get right to the discussion. Are willing to stick around and hear us out through this. Just going to work through the phone versus my laptop. So let's run it.
Guilty of the highest short. Yeah. He should be executed. He should be executed. And the fact that anyone has to be worried about saying that in 2026 is a problem. You killed an innocent person in cold blood. It's Texas. We do how we be. But people are afraid because, my God, you might be a racist. And we'll get to Belfast in a little bit. Are you more concerned about being accused of racism than you are losing your life? How about losing your country? That's where we are. Now, I am not saying, just to be clear, I'm going to treat you like adults throughout this segment, but I will preface it with not all. But we'll get to the number as far as 70-something% of Black Americans who support reparations. So not all, but I am fatigued with and don't want to be around 70-something% of Black Americans. Because if you believe that we should pay reparations, that's hate, just to be clear. You want me to pay for something that I didn't do and you didn't experience. So not all, just like 70-something%. Just like when I say Mexican Americans, immigrants coming here who are on welfare, who aren't contributing, get out. Not all of them, just about like 68%, which is the number of Mexican American households that are dependent on welfare. Just 68%. Is that fair? Or will you say racism if I'm literally addressing the statistic to the decimal? Not all. 68. Not all. 70-something% of Black Americans who believe in reparations and say that this was a railroading and a travesty of justice. Not all. Just those numbers. Comment below. Does that make sense or does that make me racist? In which case, slap the label on my forehead because I'm fine with it. We have some exclusive footage from the courthouse. And some of these are you've seen some of these people online, but we have some exclusive footage as far as different angles, and some of this is new. Someone just happened to go down and film it. Here you go. Feel your fatigue rising.
I know you. I know weak when I see it. I know when I see it. I know when I see it. I know a demon when I see it. Right now, what we are seeing is a travesty. It lets us know that Black lives do not matter in the criminal justice system. It lets us know that we are not going to be afforded the same laws as anybody else.
Oh, I didn't realize we were allowed to stab people in the heart.
Yeah, who's the victim here? Who gets stabbed like that? A black?
We must stop supporting white businesses, Asian businesses.
Good luck with that.
Because a black kid stabbed a white kid in the heart?
That's not black. I give a damn about nobody that feels like I'm playing the race card. For 400 years, our people have been
God, no.
and have had to suffer at the liberty of these laws.
Suffer at the liberty of these laws? How hilarious would it be if one of his forefathers was a slave owner?
What are they fighting about?
At this point, doesn't matter.
No, I can't. I made my bones commenting on this. On my career, however you want to put it.
People hear you now.
I can't. Yeah, exactly.
People hear you now.
I can't. I have a podcast, as you know. Thanks.
Yes.
And I can't even. I can't even show those clips. They make me irrationally. I'll comment. I'll read text. I can't watch that.
No, it gets to be too much.
Because this is, if we can't agree that a kid with a knife stabbing another kid because he pushed him, whatever, and murders the kid in cold blood, if we can't all agree that we're doomed as a species, which I've said for the last 15 years now, so I guess we're doomed as a species.
Yeah.
But I didn't think at this point in 2026 we could get to this ignorance.
Everything you just said is true. Our only hope, as far as not being doomed as a species, would be if it was a very small minority. Right. If it was a very small minority of black people going, look, of course, you can't just stab a kid in the heart.
That's right.
But it's not.
No.
It's not. And it's certainly not small enough of a minority Americans say their race is central to their identity. White people, 15%. Hey, that's not going to work out. Guess what? One is going to dominate the other. 77% of Black Americans support reparations for slavery. That means they would support you having your money stolen from your paycheck to go. In most cases, you're very likely subsidizing a good portion of these people anyway, right? They collect more than they pay in taxes, but it's not enough. Garnish your wages to pay for something you didn't do to people who didn't suffer from it. Meanwhile, white people are 12 times their own. And they want you to believe, it's open season. We food deserts, that's what they used to say, right? We got food deserts because the white man come in and ruined our neighborhood with liquor stores. Stop buying it. If there was a market in your neighborhood for a nice salad, someone would have set up shop.
And not just this.
Hey, I said I want the big salad, not like an appetizer. I want fucking more meals.
That should be the name of the place. Nice salad.
We'll check this out later. I want y'all to understand something. Like, these people aren't out of their mind. The situation here is just a matter of, like, if you don't trust the data of the situation as it stands to be offered to you, if you don't trust the people who've either seen it or are willing to tell you otherwise, if you had no intention of your education being focused around the realm of trying to understand it or trying to learn of it or trying to get the premise of, like, fucking who, what, when, where, and why, then, like, what was the point? Like, you're just, like, our own Black culture is getting mostly dopamine from the situation. They're not really actually trying to use that information for their better interests. It costs too much money for groceries. It's just like your family's not working as a fucking team. Okay, like, it's like when you move out of your parents' house, what did you actually learn from living under their roof other than what a school is teaching you? Like, what did you learn from the parents themselves? Like, if you aren't willing to put that on a piece of paper and understand what you genuinely know as a fact of what you learned, then you never learned anything. Then the schools are already built in a manner where they know they have to make money, and the people they garner the commercials towards are mostly to women. And if you a guy, you got to make money. You got to make money outside of, like, the internet. You got to get off the internet. You got to get, like, one of those blue collar jobs or one of those government paying jobs, make something with your hands that the government would want to pay money for, like getting to stock, getting to trade, getting to entrepreneurship, trying to, like, there's steps, blatant steps. So when it comes to something like this, to this case, like, if we know if people try to tell me the guy was bullied, right? Why can't, throughout the walking that I did to do some business outside before coming out to do a stream, I was doing research on my phone, trying to figure out as much as I can of the information of the topic at hand, just to make sure I'm not talking out my ass, right? But the premise here is that, like, there wasn't any information on him being bullied. And in court, it showed that, like, that when he brought that up in the courtroom, they had evidence to prove that he was lying. So, although they didn't release that evidence to the public, because realistically, like, it's the same for in the UK. Like, well, you can only draw one comparison line for in the UK, but I'm going to reference it in the short term. When it came to the idea of DNA tests for pregnancies, right? It would what the law more oftentimes said was that it would compromise family cooperation. It would compromise the citizen cooperation, and it would be a shame on the father's placement. But, like, realistically, like, God gave them the blueprint and the map to figuring things out. The animal kingdom gave them the blueprint and the map to figuring things out. And yet, when the woman cheats, they act like they don't know why. Come on, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, we already figured out that most family households dynamics, whether it be a nuclear family or otherwise, more oftentimes when it goes downhill, you can see the red flags and you can prepare ahead of time. But we don't see nobody holding that W or holding the L. Because if it was public knowledge to that much of extreme back to back, it would be hard to disprove. And if it becomes hard to disprove, then in a courtroom, most of the time, like the government wouldn't want to deal with this back to back issue. And they would create a solution to the point that literally mayors and presidents would have to get in the field to solve the issue. So in this regard, it's just like, I have small questions, statements for those who would hear. Would you choose to, when you get home from a month or two of experience at a said school, no name, and you were like, yo, parents, I want us to move away from this school or leave this school because it lacks cooperation culture. And it's cooperation culture. As such, with that being the case, if the parents choose no at the detriment of the kid, and then the cause and effect is what we know with his case and him killing that kid in cold blood, it's like he could have left his parents no choice, because the situation here is that like the only way his parents have a choice over it is if they can physically force him to stay. But if he just keeps walking away and leaving, they have no power over that. Like, they could tell him to stay, but he could just stand up, walk out the front door, and walk away. And if this repeatedly keeps happening, there is no reality where they could just pretend like they don't know what's going on. That they could just pretend like they don't know the cause and effect of the situation. So I would say that like the situation is clear as day for them to be able to fix. So, and if you want to be like, oh, but like that doesn't mean you solve the bullying problem. No, it's solvable. And it is capable of being solved off of that alone. The situation here is that like people who are part of conflict culture and have a negative tendency towards the idea of what a bully is, they perceive everyone in competition with someone to be born in the realm of a bully. And that is immediately flawed logic. Because if you do that, then you are desensitizing yourself from what a bully actually is, and to tell the difference between a bully and just a casual person. Much like how the enemy of humanity, biblically speaking, desensitizes humanity from what evil or sin is by putting it in their face so much that in using media, using sports and what may have you, slave labor and all that from all different kinds of walks of financial and technology, becomes next to impossible to genuinely not see it. But the situation here is that like, if you're not trying to live a rich life, you have less interaction with those things. If you're trying to live a life of a accountable, duty-bound man, then it becomes easier for you to weave through the world. So hopefully we get to more realistic speech going forward from Mr. Steven Crowder. Other than the fluff of like the feeling of being dishonored from what is considered common sense of how one should treat cause and effect of this level.
Except to be called knife selling more meals. Brother gotta eat. Know what businesses? Because a black kid stabbed a white kid?
their values are way different.
Yes.
Always have been. Their values are completely fucked up.
So the only way to fix it, look, I'm going to tell you, black people. The only way to fix it. That's what historically has led to that. And of course, we want to avoid an all-out race war, which is where we are headed. We'll get to Belfast. The only way is if an overwhelming majority of black Americans speak out as loudly and passionately as we saw you speak out with Black Lives Matter against it. Anything short of that, guess what? You're awakening a sleeping giant called a supermajority of white people in this country. You can't have a majority of the people in this country, racially, be 12 times as likely to be killed by this minority of people in this country and blamed for it. You can't keep doing that and expect this to remain stable. And here's another perfect example. Check the references. Make them available every show, 11 a.m. That's when we stream. Here's a woman saying this, and just see how disconnected she is from reality, and then the people around her who are equally stupid.
What do you want us to do at this point?
Not stab people.
I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away.
Don't stab people. Oh, don't. You can't walk away.
Trayvon Martin.
Yeah, Trayvon Martin. Hold on a second. I don't know what to tell him. Don't stab people. I don't know. You can't walk away no more. Trayvon Martin, the man who was in full mouth, ground and pounding. Oh, hey, yeah. I know what you tell them. Hey, grounding and pounding someone is not walking away. It's the opposite. I can't tell him to walk away. Mike Brown. Yeah, don't reach for a cop's gun and beat him in the face after strong arming a bodega and committing strong armed robbery. Just don't. I think we have a little. But this is good. This is good. We're going to make progress with this. There seems to be a discrepancy on what constitutes walking away. So when you say walking away, do you mean beating people in the streets mercilessly? That's the disconnect. See, when I say walk away, I mean walk away. You can tell your son to walk away. You should.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Trayvon walk away.
That's what I'm trying to say. The situation is he could have just been like, there's less cooperation culture at the school than I'm willing to tolerate. So I'm realistically just going to walk away from this. And if his parents were just like, no, you can't walk away. And he's just like, okay, watch me. What are you really going to do? You're going to tell me to go to school? I could literally walk out this house right now and walk in the opposite direction. You want to grab me and try to force me? This is a young man. And his mother, I don't know who his mother is or what she looks like. If she isn't a bodybuilder, she isn't forcing him to do shit. That's the reality of the matter. And even if she tried to get him in the car, he could just walk away again. And even if they tried to get him to the classroom, he could just walk away again. Like they could tell him a whole lot of things, but he could just walk away again. He doesn't have to say anything to them. He could just walk. He could just walk. What are you realistically going to do? You have to put him in handcuffs. Okay. You're going to sit him in prison? And he's just like, okay, people are going to ask him why he did what he did. He says like, oh, I just walked away. That's literally the best excuse ever. Like literally the best thing he could say. If they want more context, it'd be like, there's less cooperation culture there than there is somewhere else. And instead of being told to suffer and like it, instead of being told to be bullied and like it, instead of being told to be compromised spiritually and like it, instead of being told to be tormented and like it, I just walked away. Give him an excuse to stay. That's the situation. Like, you can't just blatantly walk away. Because on paper, if you were evaluating the situation on paper, they would have no discourse to realistically argue with you. It'd be like, oh yeah, the law says you gotta go to school. I could go to school anywhere. You had no evidence to say I was going to stop going to school. No evidence. None. Zilch. You see the flaw of the matter?
Well, no, you can't tell your son to beat people indiscriminately. You can tell your son not to stab people. You can tell your son if the school has a rule that he can't bring out a locking knife to school or any knife. Don't do it. You could tell your son that if he's committing trespassing and he's asked, according to the testimony in the trial, 15 times to leave, he should do it. The only way these people, and by these people I mean the professional black agitators who hate their country and hate white people, these hateful little shits, the only way these people could have a case is if our unwritten contract in society was, hold on a second, we all know that you need to ask someone to leave the premises 16 times. You expect us to, so 15 isn't enough? It's got to be 16. What? Why can't you do 16? Why you got to be only 15 times? What am I supposed to do? Wouldn't I stab you? Yeah, let's start with that, you silly bitch.
The goofiness is extreme.
Hey, give me your wallet now.
I don't have a wallet.
What do you mean you don't have a wallet?
I don't need one.
Yeah, well, what about your driver's license?
I don't have one of those either.
You can't get a driver's license?
No, I can get one. I just don't like the bureaucracy. I don't like standing in lines.
You sound like a liar, which is like one of the worst things to be, even worse than a thief. Are you a liar? How do you pay for things, liar?
I use one of the wallet.
What's wrong with wallets? Some kind of vibrating sack of cash? Yeah?
Thanks, no fees.
Freaking
He couldn't
commercials.
turn his back on these people because they would have potentially shot him or done some other harm. And I'm like, the only thing they asked him to do was leave. That's the only thing you need. In most fights, leaving takes care of it. But especially if the only thing you're being asked to do 15 times by multiple people is just remove yourself from the property that you're not supposed to be under that tent, that's the only thing you should do.
Yeah.
And it blows a hole in that myth that they live in fear.
Right.
That's the other thing of white people. You don't know what it's like to be black. The biggest myth is they're so afraid of cops, right?
Right.
Just watch TikTok for
Watch
30 seconds.
cops try and say you need to leave. They don't listen.
No.
Don't listen. They'll take a swing at a cop. They'll spit.
Yeah,
They pull
not
over for
afraid.
speed and they'll spit in the cop's face. It's the biggest myth. It's been going on forever.
The funniest thing is when young black women, the hood rats, they get arrested.
They're
Like
the
they're like,
worst.
yeah, then take me arrested. And then they get arrested. Like, just leave me alone. Like they don't connect. Why? Because they have parents like that. I don't know what to tell my son no more. Follow the law, asshole. I know it's foreign fucking parenting. This is how people in this country feel. So no, I'm not racist against all black people. Just the 74%. What was the number? 74%?
Yeah.
77% who support reparations for slavery.
Damn, a graph? Bro, I gotta take a picture of this graph, bro. Screenshot. There we go. Very effective.
Those people are racist, just to be clear. Just the 74% of black Americans who say it is central to their identity. So not all. I have some neighbors who are black, very, very nice people. She's very sweet. She's like, hey, bring over Joe. I got a buddy problem. He have he can eat buffet. She's fun. I love her. Great. Not talking about that. Just the 77% of black people who justify violence, which is what reparations are. You know that, right? Reparations is paying for violence of the past through a violent enforcement mechanism presently. Give us your money, we're the government, or we shoot you so we can give it to black people who haven't earned it. 77% of black Americans. How do you think they would respond if they heard 77% of white people believe that all black Americans should pay for the disproportionate murder and welfare drain? How do you think they would react?
In court caught.
Yeah. How do you think they would react?
That's actually a really good idea. Because it's impacting you and me today.
Now.
People perpetuating it and hurting people that are alive
I brought it
today.
up 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't help my career.
We just set the zip code. Like, yeah, we're gonna. This is actually it's the hidden murder fee because you guys murder so much.
I said this on stage in front of a lot of black people in LA in the big room on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Pryor went on after me. And I went and talked about reparations. And I did all the math that as far as what we owe you. After taking our court costs, stolen bikes, radio, but you owe us $1,540. Even black people laughed. You know?
Yeah, that's great.
About 3 of them.
And we used to be able to laugh at that. Now that'd be a hate crime. By the way, you know what? I don't like the statements from the father. We've talked about this. Austin Metcalf's father saying this has nothing to do with race. You're wrong. We are all humans. We all bleed the same color. But here's the thing: only one person was bleeding. I like what the brother said, and I understand he's grieving. But I also heard Glenn Beck say this isn't a race. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because just people were saying this after Irina's Ruski. It's not a race thing. What was that? Let's replay the clip. I got that white. Well, I'm going to take him at his word. His twin brother did say to Carmelo, now I want everything taken from you. You took everything from me. I wake up every morning and his door is still shut. Good. And by the way, to the sewing circle, Protestant Christians, and I'm a Protestant Christian, who say, that's not Christian. Shut up. You're part of the problem. And we need to start solving this problem, which brings us to a portion of the segment, Crockett the Racist.
The only people that are crying are the mediocre white boys. I am tired of the white tears.
All right, here you go, right off the bat. She's a stupid person. Check the references. She pulls the race card, and she's an idiot.
Whether you were the Asian women or whether you were the white men, that you understand what it is to be black in America. You know, and this whiteness and this
Tell us what it is.
placement theory crap that they on and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, we the victims and the immigrants and the black people, they the ones that's hurting. Like, it's just all of this victimhood. The adults in the room are not
Let me know when you see one.
seemingly adulting in a responsible way. Cough, cough.
I thought I was watching the Black Brady Bunch.
Here's a story. I bet she lady.
No, I listened to way more of that interview than I should. She was the expert on that panel.
Yeah.
She was brought in as the expert
She
on
was
that
the
panel.
smart one.
Yes. The smartest of them.
She brought up the curve.
The lady in the bottom left corner, Julie, spelled Juli, she said,
Yeah.
and I quote,
Well, how do you spell
You
it?
can't afford a vowel when you're black. $250.
Julie with an I.
Bingo! That's another good.
Yeah. She said,
Go ahead, Neil.
and when the fatal thing happened, I kid you not, in describing what happened, because they're trying to humanize Carmelo Anthony, because if you humanize him, then you understand that maybe what he did didn't actually end in the result of killing another person. Actually, it still did. It wasn't so much the knife, the legality, we'll get into it, is where the knife was located.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much the skin color or anything else. It was that a kid was killed by him.
Some people
Done.
do things. The
Yeah.
backdrop of all this is, though, white people let this happen. Black people couldn't have a voice if it wasn't for white liberals. And we're letting this happen to
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yes.
Just like we're inviting
it's been
Muslims to live here, people that are openly hostile to our way of life. The West is doing it to itself. And in this country, when it comes to race, white people have let this happen.
Well, I would agree and go one step further. It's orchestrated by the left, and it's been permitted by weak-willed people on the right.
Yeah, that's
And
all
fear
white
speak-
people.
Yeah, and fear speaking of.
That's
yeah.
white people.
But it's orchestrated by one,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
implicit because people don't speak out.
Right.
And I'll tell you, the moment for me, and I know this is a risk. That was a defining turning point in my life. Was the last time I did black and white and the gray issues at that barbershop.
Yeah.
No, I mean it.
Yeah.
Because I've done it many times. I'm the guy who sits down and just change my mind. Talks with everyone. Has sit down and prayed with people of all different races when we do change our minds. We'll have a civil dialogue with them. I've gone out specifically and discussed these issues with in black neighborhoods, and I've gone specifically to that barbershop. I thought I had established rapport. And thought, hey, this is great. We can bridge this gap a little bit. And the second time I went, especially after Charlie Kirk, I thought this is a gimme. And you remember I said, we can't air that because people are going to be more racist. And you guys said, the people need to know the truth because they simply denied reality and justified rampant racism. The more comfortable they got with me, the more racist they were in communicating the worldviews. And I wish them no ill will. They were nice guys, but they were flat out saying, you owe us millions of dollars. You people are killing us in the streets. It is a race thing. There was no reason. And after I aired it and I saw the response, I was going, my God, the hope that I had disappeared, that until I see the same level of outrage that I saw on behalf of Black Lives Matter against it from the black community, have my black friends, great. Just 70-something% of you who support reparations, who say that's central to your identity and that white people are more aggressive. Now, let's go back to Crockett. She made some point that she maybe would have stabbed Austin Metcalf herself. I don't know. She's a stupid person.
If a 300-pound man is beating me, like on top of me and beating me down, I'm not limited to fist. I would argue
Never do anything.
that even the only time we
Use
go
your
into
nails.
things like people's hands being considered deadly weapons is typically like if they're a professional boxer or that kind of stuff. But I think
Pause. This woman is an actual lawyer. Here's what's making me more racist as we speak. She shouldn't be who's giving her legal advice? Steven Seagal? I'm talking about your hands, registered deadly weapon. That's a complete and total myth. Just say that came from Joe Louis. He would bring police officers to weigh. By the way, I'm pretty familiar with it. My dog's named after my favorite boxer of all time. It's not even close as far as heavyweight record. He would have the police go with him to weigh-ins to register his hands as deadly weapons as part of a publicity stunt. And she's acting like that's legal precedent.
I had to do that with my colleague.
Well, that's because of continue with her stupid clip.
Oh my god.
by the time you start getting to like football player,
You're illiterate. Shut up.
good argument. Good freaking argument.
What?
We're not talking about
What are they
like
talking
golfers. We're talking about football players, right? Like this is what they are trained to do is to
get
inflict,
stabbed in the heart?
like serious physical contact.
Talking about a high school kid.
And it's my understanding that the decedent was dead.
Oh,
I
you
can't
don't
make
understand
it.
the difference
I can't.
between an athlete and a weapon. Okay, so, oh no, wait, she does, because then she went on to say that she might have argued that the blade, the knife, was not, in fact, a deadly weapon. This is
Was
the
it a
brightest
switch?
among
I don't know what he had.
It was like a.
You
It,
didn't
it
know,
seemed
but
like
you're
it was
talking
a
about-
multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army.
Like with the like with the little scissors and
No,
everything.
yeah, that was
So
it.
it's
You
small.
ignorant.
Well, I would argue
Look
the
at the
size
bottom
of it alone, you wouldn't even think it's
It's your brain
And
up
then when you
your
tell
fucking
me
retard.
that this wasn't even a real knife, so I'm like,
Black
I
guy in the middle's like, shut up, bitch.
I'm blind right now. But like
Why is a nurse on the right?
stab, puncture, hit.
One crime.
It went
one
through a
time,
bone to his
however,
heart, you
it was
asshole.
described
Yeah,
with something
Yeah, it was a
that
sport.
isn't considered to
Yeah.
even be unlawful.
yeah, she goes one time. That means that he jammed it in hard and deep. When you see like 15 stab wounds, 20 stab wounds, that's often because someone's kind of slashing, right? And it's sometimes people will tell you it's hard to register which ones are individual stabs, slashes, and so they use shorthand. One stab straight through the heart
Yeah.
means that was pretty much everything he had driving into
It
it.
penetrated bone.
Yeah, and also, by
That's
the
what
way,
it said.
here's the image of the knife. When she goes, I think it was like a Swiss Army knife. Okay, good news is I have a Swiss Army. Here's a Swiss Army knife, just to be clear. And by the way, I carry knives all the time. They're tools, they're not weapons. When they say multi-tool, this is more comparable to what he had. This is a multi-tool. It's a glass breaker, and this is a seatbelt cutter. I know this because I have an emergency tool in my car. This is to cut seatbelts so it doesn't actually hurt someone in the seatbelt. You're less likely to cut them. This is to break glass. Let's say your car goes over some kind of a ledge and you're going into a body of water. So it's not a Swiss Army knife. But she should know it was a locking blade that he used
Oh,
to
she does.
stab.
Especially if she's a doctor or someone in the legal field. If you don't know weapons when you're in the legal field, then you don't know murder cases at all. Because if you did know what the difference between weapons of many different variety, then you would understand what is acceptable and what isn't, and what is true and what is false in regards to weapons. So, like, you don't even need to be someone who makes weapons to have that kind of level of intellect or logic in that realm. It's just a matter of due process training and education. Like, what the fuck? Let's try to run with this. Yeah, let's try.
A man, a young boy, in the heart. But here's why none of it matters. Because even if she knew everything, she wouldn't care anyway. Just like a very likely majority of Black Americans, it doesn't matter because the only thing that matters is the race. The race of the victim. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean victim of the crime. The race of the victim of the justice system for committing the crime. Here is Crockett saying that the Metcalf family who lost a son will never understand the pain of Blacks.
Black women, especially Black women who have Black male children, live in fear and agony every single day. A fear and agony that I promise you, the Metcalfs probably never spent a day.
Yeah, it goes, what did I do? Look at
The Metcalfs never spent a day. Look. They will these people who have an empty room where their son used to live, who they raise and love, they will never know the pain of not working and collecting money from the government, living in subsidized housing, mouthing off the cops as we see. They will never know that pain. We're afraid, right? You're not afraid at all. Carmelo Anthony wasn't afraid. He was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. He was asked to leave. And he was so bold, where he premeditated said, touch me and see what happens. He was so not afraid of the laws and rules that he brought a knife knowingly when he wasn't allowed to, committed a crime and hung around. That is not someone who's afraid. That is someone who is a criminal and a problem and should be treated as such. And anything short of Black Lives Matter-esque passion from the Black community in marching against your own kind and activists and bull, anything short of that, white people in this country need to avoid large groups of Black people. That's my advice to you. Individual conversation? Sure. At church? Sure. If it's a group of people where 70% of them, if they were all in agreement on their prejudice, bias, hatred toward you, a group of 10 or more, you should steer clear, white people, because the stats are really, not all, just 7 out of 10.
I always read comment section after, the New York Post will be a story about this. You go right to the comments. That's where you used to be able to be honest with the Post. You can't even.
I'm going to keep it a billion. The only time when there's a large quantity of Black people that I'm around with is at my job. Beyond that point, nah. Not even at public events of card games or video games. Maybe when I was younger, when it involved Pokemon Nationals, but I will tell you right now, none of us at Pokemon Nationals were that conflict based. We understood that it was a video game or a card game, and we were there to have fun. Race was never a part of the equation. Guess what was a part of the equation? Your team that you were battling with. Can you use your water Pokemon to beat my fully trained, non-hacked, light ball, bulk tackle Pikachu that if it sees a Kyogre, that shit's getting one tapped. And I'm going to watch your face. You're going to be like, what?
No, mildly be racist. But there's one person that always puts this when it's a racial thing. People, we're averse to snakes, not because of their skin color. We just can't tell which one's a poison. That's basically the best analogy I've ever.
Yeah, because no matter what, you can never predict people like that unless you're highly experienced and well-informed and well-educated on cause and effect when it comes to civilization or things of that sort. For instance, the analogy he just gave, there's another form of that analogy, but it's in the dating field, right? If you're trying to date, but you don't know which goal is meeting the conditions of being worthy and deserving of being a mother and being a wife, more oftentimes than not, you look for pattern recognition. You look for the cracks in the window that she wants you to look through. You try to figure out what her principles are, like if she had a father, it still retains a father in her family household. If she has brothers, and if they retain themselves in her family households. Has she ever left any people behind, or so on and so forth? Has she traveled? Does she have kids? If she went to college for the sole purpose of getting a way higher category job and making way better income, and what is her job now in contingents to that career choice? Those things matter because because like in the dating field, everyone's dressed in a way that's well known and like they look the same. They stick around each other. There's too much like pattern recognition as to the atmosphere that a woman allows around her and that she portrays. And that atmosphere creates a warning sign. It's like an alert from Mega Man when you enter into a boss room. You'd be like, nope, not interested, walks away. You see multiple men walk away nowadays. It's just cause and effect and pattern recognition. We aren't down for there to be a second or third time to be burned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, try to stay away from all. Mm-hmm. That's basically the best analogy I've ever heard.
Yep.
That's not being racist, it's being smart.
Yeah.
And I said that a long time ago. If you're a liberal, if you were taking advice from a liberal, you wouldn't make it till you were 14 if you lived near black people.
Yeah. You know,
Don't cross the street at 3 a.m. That's racist. Walk right through that bag of bloods.
Yeah.
And it makes perfectly logical sense. Like, you cannot be called racist for taking an action that's in your best interest, that's blatantly smart. Like, if a cause and effect leads to you dying because of that, because of an action, like, and everybody's just like, oh, we lost somebody today. Like, no, you didn't care, because if you did care, you would want there to be permanent change. But if there is no permanent change, you never cared. And when it comes to like that person who doesn't want to take the action that leads to cause and effect, that's conflict culture rather than cooperation culture, like they're blatantly the smart one. Like when you're trying to get rich, where you're trying to change your life for the better, you gotta leave behind a toxic environment. People who are not going to help you get there should not be sticking around you. You see what I mean?
Exactly right. And at what point do we say, you know what, reparations for us? Because of the murder rate, because of us having to work, white Americans contribute, pay taxes, we don't actually withdraw. We'll get to Belfast and immigration, how we foot the bill and how we're the victims of violent crime, but we don't perpetrate violent crime to the same degree. We pay taxes, whereas we don't receive the benefits to the same degree. You know what? Reparations, at a certain point, you need to extend the olive branch to us. Why? Because we're not the ones killing you. And we're not the ones ripping you off. And we are not the ones saying that our race is central to our identity to justify all of said misdeeds. So, the only time I want to hear about reparations is what you owe to law-abiding citizens of this country.
Reparation? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think welfare is for the last 60 years?
Oh, yeah. That's what they asked for.
Reparations.
Yeah. Not to mention the public educational system.
All that.
All of it.
All of it. Free Doritos, Cherry Coke.
Yeah. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.
All right. There's Steven Crowder on the topic. Now then. That was Steven Crowder on it. Let's check out some other people on the topic at hand. Let's see.
The motorbike is also getting another upgrade. You can actually fly now.
Freaking
Now you can
commercials.
race across the water and soar through the air.
Get ready to raid. I never lost it. I gotta keep it. Stay on.
Carmelo Anthony has been found guilty of murder. I don't think that boy received a fair trial. In my opinion, that case should not have been tried in Collin County.
Okay, so the next people we're going to, because for those who know who Steven Crowder is or whatever, we're going to go to Anton Daniels. So, all right, let's see their perspective.
Texas, right? The defense should have been granted the motion to change venue, right? There was no black jurors. Obviously, all of the witnesses were biased and probably heavily influenced by the kind of sentiment that pervaded that community. This was a racially charged case, obviously. And in my opinion, this is just terrible news. But even if the verdict would have went the other way, people on the extreme right especially.
Quick question. For if anyone gets to see this video later in this moment in time, we're on Anton Daniels' part of this video at the beginning in the first 48 seconds. Here's the question that just came to mind. I'm going to write this down too. The question I want to provide is simple. The sports teams that they were at when they were in their tents, I'm under the assumption that the sports teams, what's the ethnicity of every member of the opposing team versus their team? In that tent, was anyone in there with Carmelo other than himself? Was anyone in there black? And if anybody in there, if the only person in there that was white was the person who was killed, leave really to the imagination here in schools where there's multiple participants in schooling. Asians understand the value of like sports in the realm of that of their own knowledge, in addition to the idea of those who want to become a doctor and so on and so forth. Like, you got to know the human body. You have to have experience in it. You have to have leadership. You have to be able to fill a whole bunch of criteria roles to be worthy and deserving of whether it be a manager and working with certain companies. You got to have a good background. So why does this attest to what the other team was and what races were in their membership? Because it seemed like what wiggle room could there ever even be to be so unhingingly confident that this was a race charged case? In what realm is there so much more wiggle room to assume that it's racially motivated? In what realm? Tell the modern day basic ass citizen that has a basic day-to-day schedule of work or what may have you, or even in the middle class of the United States of America, that they want to be purposefully a part of a race war. Try to convince them to do that. I guarantee you won't. So then what the fuck makes you think that this is a race? How do you get enough people to be a part of? No. I feel like this is mostly on the black people's side. On the black people's side, like they don't know any other way to feel other than what's been taught to them in a classroom of how to feel. So they're being sheep right now. They're not being adults. They're not. So my question is, what were the ethnicities on the sportsmanship teams, whether it be track and field or football? All right, let's move it along.
On the extreme right was ready to make Metcalf a martyr, right? Because they are hell bent on starting some kind of race war, some weird shit like that.
I don't understand where a lot of these people are getting these narratives from. And I do agree that there's extreme on the right and there's extreme on the left. There's extreme white people and there's extreme black people. And what I am seeing in the culture, to be honest, I'm going to keep it 100% with you. The people that are the most incentivized, it seems, amongst themselves to try to create a narrative and then ultimately, either want to blame victimhood or boycott. We see that what's happening with the whole Asian businesses, even though there's a whole lot of different Asian type of businesses and all of that type of stuff. If that be the case, what I'm trying to understand is how are the people on the right or white people trying to create this narrative when their son, Austin Metcalf, is the one that died? Let's be perfectly clear, right? We haven't seen white people, even though there's a whole lot of different Asian type of businesses and all of that type of stuff. If that be the people that are the most incentivized, it seems, amongst themselves to try to create a narrative and then ultimately, either want to blame victimhood or boycott. We see that what's happening with the whole Asian businesses, even though there's a whole lot of different Asian type of businesses and all of that type of stuff. If that be the case, what I'm trying to understand is how are the people on the right or white people trying to create this narrative when their son, Austin Metcalf, is the one that died? Let's be perfectly clear, right? We haven't seen or heard, and I followed this case extensively. We plan on talking about it on After Hours on Room 9. I always like to link back to the content creators, so those links will be down in the description and give credit regardless of whether I agree or not. I don't understand where we're getting this narrative from. Who are the ones that should be outraged? Because first of all, I think that every case should be separate. Even though I see people combining them and they're trying to justify one from the other. Two different states, two different laws, two different groups of people as far as jurors. How can he ultimately say just because there wasn't a black person on the jury that is no way that he received a fair trial? It was even reported while the trial was going on that the defense had nothing and they were trying to hang their hats on a possibility of a mistrial and trying to catch up a witness that they were questioning and grilling, and they ultimately couldn't get what they needed out of this whole situation. I am, honestly, bro, I'm very much perplexed at how people ultimately keep running in the Victim Olympics and blaming everybody else. When for me, this was so clear-cut, this was so real, this was so transparent of exactly what it was. He went to school with a knife on purpose, and then ultimately the goal was for him to defend himself, premeditatedly defend himself against people. I don't get it. I don't know where y'all getting this narrative. I don't know where people are finding this whole everybody else's racist narrative and stuff. Dope beard, love the beard, big dog, but I think that he's 100% wrong, and I'm not going to side with people just because they black. I'm going to go based off of what's right and what's wrong.
But once again, just within a matter of weeks, I don't think justice has prevailed.
Carmelo Anthony has been found guilty of first-degree murder in the stabbing of Austin Metcalf in 2025. First-degree murder in the state of Texas carries up to 99 years in prison, which means that Carmelo Anthony could serve up to life in prison with the possibility of parole. What's next is the sentencing phase. Of course, the jury is a jury of his peers in his county, which are all white, so they rejected the self-defense claim and manslaughter. Now I'm trying to keep my composure because we don't know what this young man is about to receive. Do I think he received a fair trial? No, I don't.
How are people drawing the conclusion that he didn't receive a fair trial? I don't understand it. So Rick Child, y'all saying that he should have been guilty even though he had a very diverse group of people, black people, white people, others, all of that type of stuff. As a matter of fact, I heard that it was over 5 black people. It was like 5 black people that was on a jury for Rick Child, and they still didn't accept his verdict. He had a black lawyer. They still didn't accept his verdict. And so now Carmelo Anthony, y'all saying that he didn't get a fair trial. Y'all wasn't in the courtroom. Most of these people are just talking. They're not even citing anything that was happening within the case itself. How are y'all saying that he didn't get a fair trial? I'm just genuinely curious.
They just cost him his whole life. Do I believe he was protecting himself? Yes. But in this country, white boys will always get a pass for being aggressive towards black boys. White boys can always be the bully. They can always push, shove, call you whatever you want, and can be the aggressor. And if a black boy retaliates, he's considered a thug, even though he's a 3.7 GPA student and a top athlete. This is his first offense, and I do not believe he did it on purpose. I believe.
Okay, so this is where I chime in on another detail. People love to use his grades as a focal point. Like, you understand that that's part of the criteria of ever being considered a top athlete. That's part of the course. It's literally part of the paperwork that they cannot be excelling if they have bad grades. Yeah, so you can be an atheist, have good grades, but that doesn't excuse you for if you murdered somebody. You could be you could be a rich tycoon, have good grades, but that doesn't make you exempt from killing somebody. You could be a mother of 7, but that and you could have had good grades, but that doesn't like exempt you if you kill somebody. Like, no, what the fuck are we talking about? Fuck the grades aspect, because that's just on paper part of your responsibility if you're getting into the sports field anyway. So nobody cares about his fucking grades.
He just wanted to protect himself, because whether people want to realize, people of the Caucasian persuasion are the most dangerous people in this country.
Hey, all white people are dangerous now that Austin Metcalf was killed by Carmelo Anthony. I just want to make sure we all understand that.
It could put anybody on high alert. To Carmelo Anthony's family, I am so sorry. But we all know how this country looks at black boys.
Carmelo Anthony case just came to a close and the verdict is guilty. Carmelo Anthony now faces anywhere between 5 to 99 years in prison for this. There is a crowd of people outside of the courtroom and the family is absolutely furious. There's word coming out from the courtroom that Carmelo visibly broke down and the family stormed out of the courtroom, and you can hear the screams and the crying, and it's just so fucking sad. My prayers are going out to this family.
So they stormed out of the courtroom and didn't want to actually embrace their own son. They didn't want to hug their son or nothing. They just stormed out. Almost like they knew where they were going or what they were going to be doing. Like, here's the thing about it. If you don't know the family household, you don't know shit about the kid in the situation. But if you're outside of the family household and you have a surplus of evidence leading to a cause and effect, domino effect that everyone could take to task in proper evaluation and evidence, good luck winning that battle.
And my prayers go out to the black community as a whole. Please do not let
Please stop letting one guy's fuck up be the oh my God. We are not spiritually linked to every single black fuck around the world. Okay, like there's a reason why when you leave America, go to Africa, they call you American. Okay, you're not African American, you're American. There's a bottom line of nationality. That extra step shit that they teach in schools, that's simply to that's hot sauce that they're putting on top of a cake and telling you to imagine it's frosting. Okay? Like, no. Like, it's not the same thing. It doesn't have the same purpose. It's not the same.
These people, do not let these people invoke you.
Wait. I myself believe that this is a travesty in itself. And it could have been prevented all the way across the board to where this guy could have.
Yeah, he could have just walked away. Or when he was in that tent, they told him like 15 times to leave. He could have just left. He could have also been like, I don't have to go this far. I don't need to kill nobody. I genuinely could just move on with my fucking life. I genuinely could just choose a different path. In order to change the complexity and difficulties of the world, you just need to change how you look at it. Baseline psychology experimentation practices. It's not all that hard. It's called reflection. Instead of just letting yourself see your reflection in the world, you got to let the world reform its reflection of you. But to do that, there must be exchange. There must be balance. You need to change how you view the world to make that happen. He could have just walked away. Nothing was really stopping him. Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Went home, could have not went to that event, could have not carried a knife, could have done a lot of things, right? But ultimately, the goal is to make sure that your kid get home, right? And so I think that this is just a travesty in itself. I think that the parents are the ones that probably, should be held accountable the most. But
I mean, if the father's not in the home and the mother was still around, we know how that happened. But let's just say the father and mother were around. And they were both in the same household when this is going down. And they both raised the kid for a surplus amount of years. If we don't hear within this year the story of the parents, like due process, do research as to their actions throughout the past 5 years or the past 8 years, dare say, I'm telling you, it most likely started with the household immediately. Full sale.
how are you saying that this is a travesty for the Black community?
Because we all know very well that's what they want. They want us upset, they want us angry, and they want us in the streets.
I mean, partially that could be true. Realistically, if you are angry enough, you'll go buy billboards, you'll go buy some paper, you'll buy some pencils, markers, whatever, to write down on whatever. Somehow you're going to randomly come across the funding to be able to do this, right? You're going to be in a position where you already have to pay your rent, pay your bills, pay your car payment, pay a whole bunch of shit. But then randomly you surplus into a position where you have money. Randomly. And it's enough money to get you particular things that you can easily use to fund yourself into a position where you can fix a problem. Wow, right?
Anyone who thinks Carmelo Anthony is innocent should be locked up because they are a threat to society. I'm so glad that self-defense can't be used so loosely. There's no way he thought that his life was in danger. You can't just stab someone just because they put their, even if he put his hands on Carmelo, even though Austin put his hands on Carmelo, his life wasn't in danger. For it to be self-defense, there has to be a proportionate response. You can't, if someone hits you, right, you can hit them back. You can't just kill them. The defense, the response has to be proportionate. So if someone's using lethal force, then you can use lethal force. But you're not going to be able to convince the jury that you genuinely thought your life was in danger. Your life was not in danger at a track meet in front of a bunch of people. And he didn't.
Literally hundreds of people. Damn near thousands. What are we talking about? Your life was never in danger, really. The animal kingdom does not give a fuck about how you feel. Your life was not in fucking danger, bro. Your life was not in danger. You genuinely did not fear shit. Especially to the point that you brought a weapon. If you brought a weapon, you were past the point of ever feeling fear. Fuck that.
You have a weapon. That's crazy to me. And it's weird to me that people can understand that Rick Chow killing Cyrus was murder and wasn't self-defense. But when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, people try to say that that's self-defense and that he's not a murderer. That's just crazy to me.
So let's get this straight. There were 5 white jurors, but there were also 5 black jurors that heard the Rick Chow case. And yet, the jury could not seem to get justice for a 14-year-old boy that was racially profiled on camera, then pursued on camera, and shot in the back. However, I guarantee you, I can say definitively that the all-white jury that is hearing the Carmelo Anthony case will deliver what they believe is justice by convicting Carmelo Anthony of first-degree murder for unaliving the young white boy in his case. Now, I don't see a whole lot of correlation between these two cases. They are not similar at all to me. However, it is my opinion that Rick Chow is guilty of murder. I believe that Rick Chow left his store that day, which was uncharacteristic of him to do, intending to stop Cyrus. He had racially profiled him, and he intended to recover stolen merchandise by any means necessary. Whereas in the case of Carmelo Anthony, I don't think that when he entered that tent looking for shelter from a downpour of rain, that he intended to harm anyone. I think once he got into that tent, he was treated aggressively, and he decided that it was better for him to stand his ground. I also believe witness testimony when they say that after he drew the weapon and used the weapon, he couldn't believe that he had unalived anyone. And I think that's because he didn't mean to. But it doesn't matter, because in this country, Black people face consequences for the things that they do, whether they mean to hurt anybody or not.
So basically what they're saying is that they need to be justified in letting him off. Doesn't matter whether or not he killed him or not. The other case is justification in order for them to be able to get this off. Got it. Let me know what you guys think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. TJ?
There has to be consequences for your decisions, whether you're black or white, or any ethnicity. So we heard Steven Crowder, white guy, good, smart guy. Then we heard Austin Daniel, black guy, good, smart, black guy. Now, we're going to look at this from a different angle. We're going to look at this from people who genuinely don't take bullshit and just see it on its face with the information provided to them, and are not trying to give out that much grace without there being due process. They're the innocent until proven guilty mindset to its maximum. So let me have a look, see here, try to find that one. I know one where they will absolutely verbally rip the opponent apart, bro. Just verbally rip them apart. Just give me a minute. Let's see. Gotta go to my okay, here we go.
No way, they found my base already? Let's get this siege crossbow armed. 5 coins, sheesh,
Commercial.
just enough. I don't like playing around. Carmelo Anthony was just found guilty of
Get the fuck. Okay, there we go.
murdering Austin Metcalf and was sentenced to 35 years in prison. But already, people are seemingly calling for race riots, as CNN immediately frames.
By the way, were there any race riots over Carmelo Anthony? No, because everybody knew he was guilty. We all knew this, right? And I think that the entire world is fatigued from this. They're tired of this. They're tired of race bullshit. They're tired of tribalism. They're just sick of it. And also another reason is that I feel like if they had a riot, I've got a good feeling on what would happen. And it would not be like 2020, I'll tell you that. Greg Abbott would have sent in the National Guard, bro. He would have shut that shit down in 45 minutes.
As racist.
Carmelo Anthony said, well, push me. See what happens then. And he pushed him, and that is
now
when
he's in jail for 35 years.
Carmelo Anthony rummaged through his bag, took out
Now he's in jail for 35 years.
a knife, and the jury has determined that when that knife went into the chest of the victim, Austin Metcalf, that was murder.
If it was up to CNN, you'd think an inanimate object just magically ended Austin's life, as they desperately try to frame this as anything other than murder.
He had a knife. We don't know why he had a knife. He did not take the stand. This was a self-defense case. And what was in Carmelo Anthony's head was...
He had a knife to stab somebody. Duh. What are you, fucking retarded? Obviously.
so important because if he subjectively believed that he was going to be killed or seriously bodily injured by Austin Metcalf, who is the victim now, then he had a right to take out a knife.
Saying Austin, who is the victim now, is insanely evil phrasing. He's the only victim. He's the only one not with us now because of what Carmelo Anthony admittedly did. It's the simplest of cases, unless your network is full of racists.
Then he had a right to take out a knife.
A black man who has now been charged with murder of a young white man. Anthony was in this tent. He was asked to leave. He was being confronted and in some ways intimidated, provoked by larger athletes, and he was fearful of his life, and he pulled that knife.
If he was so fearful, why didn't he simply leave the tent as requested? But
wait, what do you mean you could just leave? Wait, no, but I have to flex on them. I can't let them feel like I'm not in control. I can't let my ego get hurt. Bro, I gotta stab somebody. No, I can't walk away. This is a perfectly good time to throw away your life.
no, they're just desperate to frame the murderer as the bigger victim. The only thing worse than CNN was Court TV.
And questioning the jury, I asked him, how did you reach your verdict? How did you reach it so quickly? What happened? It was a 4-inch knife. He used it one time. He
only used the knife once.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying that it was right, but what are you doing? How did you get this verdict? I'm enraged right now. This is very upsetting.
Even stooping to defenses previously only seen
I haven't even seen these. These are new.
Racist memes.
My child has deep regret. My family has deep regret. He is a scholar. He has the opportunity. To turn his life around. She needed to be talking about her son in the future to get them to see who he could be outside of this.
Yeah, he could stab somebody else. Imagine his potential. He could stab potentially 3 or 4 or 5 people even. Fuck, he could shoot him. Right? I mean, the sky's the limit. He could kill way more people.
She was not prepped and ready for that.
Suggesting you can imprison my son, he's a future scholar, just proves you're willing to overlook murder based solely on race. We simply can't reason with this level of weapons-grade stupidity, but sadly, there's actually activists listening to this logic. After the guilty verdict, chanting "say his name" as if Carmelo was the victim.
This is the reason why I think we should publicly execute him. This is the exact reason. Is that you got to show these people that the way that you're acting and everything, like you're not in control. You're not in control. You're never going to be in control. And it's better that way. This is exactly the reason why I think we should do it.
He's joking. Chill out. Y'all weirdos.
Fucking racist. Massively fucking racist.
Singing and jumping around, attempting to antagonize the other side.
It's like at a certain point, like I think that there's a lot of people that try to calm these people down. I think go ahead and crash out. Go ahead and crash out. We're going to send in the National Guard. We're going to send the National Guard. You get violent, they're going to shoot you. You learn how to fucking behave. Learn how to act right. Like, I'm so tired of this shit. I think everybody's tired of this. Really, like, I mean, it's a waste of time, yeah. Like, if that's not enough, send in the military. Deal with this shit. But you're not gonna do that right with a man. Yeah. That's weak. That's weak. Okay.
Now, luckily, this guy was eventually arrested,
put in a box.
but he wasn't the only one getting confrontational.
Anytime a white man or a white child go and put their hands aggressively on anybody and something like this occur, it's self-defense. You put your hand on me and see how I respond.
Okay, well then you're gonna be in jail too, bitch. You gotta learn how to act. This is basically like inside, like this is a cultural thing, is that inside of certain cultures, insulting a person's like honor or like disrespecting them is seen as grounds for killing them. Like you have the justification now, if you've been disrespected, you now are allowed to be violent and you can kill somebody. Now, the solution to that is that you put everybody that thinks like that in jail. You just put all of them in jail. That's it. And then you don't have any more problems. But there's a very, very small subset of people that think this way and then behave this way. This is cross culture. It's not exclusive to black people. It happens all around the world.
In what world would anybody think?
But I will say it is generally a massively low IQ thing, right? Only retards think like this.
I was for putting violent murderers in prison until his angry supporters got in my face, basically suggesting something similar to me. If anything, it just proves how unfixable this perpetual victim mentality really is.
It's actually extremely fixable. The reason why it's not being fixed is because we tolerate this outburst and these outbursts like a child, right? It's almost like the bigotry of low expectations that we don't immediately call this out for exactly what it is. And I think the reason why is that, you know, there's some kind of guilt to it or something else. And I don't know, like, I can't speak for everybody, right? But like, I am certainly not guilty for this, right? I don't feel guilty at all about this. And I think that really, like, any type of this behavior should not be tolerated.
I already know, even covering this story as moderately as possible, I'm definitely going to receive threats in my DMs by idiots that think they're anonymous, as some people are just seemingly evil.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do?
Stop stabbing people.
What?
Stop stabbing people
I
with
got 5
knives.
boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
You can't walk away. You can't walk away. You have to preserve your honor.
Now, obviously, the answer is just tell your kids not to commit murder. But in the sea of reasonable responses to this is, how does she have 5 kids but isn't working on a Tuesday afternoon?
It's because this entire, like,
That's
there's
what
a
I'm
massive
fucking-
underclass.
That's what I am fucking saying, bro. Oh my god, that is bars, bro. Like what the f- do you mean? You're not your work, bro. Oh, that is awesome. I love that he said that. Oh man, it's crazy.
This population of people. This is in America. It's in every Western country that we effectively fund their existence. It's so annoying. We pay for these people to be alive. We pay for their kids to be alive. If we cut off their funding, they would die. That's the reality.
As for several days, she's been out there proudly broadcasting her racism.
If evidence does come out that Carmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
Once again, proving you can't reason with this. Why waste your energy explaining that murder is evil when essentially her whole argument is...
Exactly why you need the public execution. It's exactly why you need it. Because people like that know they don't listen and they don't understand anything other than a show of force. You have to do it.
Is bigotry. The problem being, the BLM riots proved she's not alone in this. Most people won't even know.
We protect black criminals. Oh my, 2020 was not real.
And that this entire movement openly endorses black criminals, believing they're basically incapable of not committing murder. It's insane.
We're the racist ones, though.
Racist to think this, but they somehow not only believe it, but crowdfund over $600,000.
It's actually fucked up, bro. Like, somebody in my chat goes, I'm black. I used to think Uncle Ruckus was a caricature until I kept dealing with these types of people. Now I see myself becoming Uncle Ruckus and my beliefs.
That is crazy, bro. Oh, man. Fuck.
Welcome to White Heaven. Oh my God.
To a guy found guilty of murder, openly admitting they won't spend it on his defense, but other stuff for the family. Because being on trial for the murder you committed is injustice. It's actually scary to think a family can make over $500,000 because some people see a black student stabbing a white student and immediately rush to send him money. And simply put, one side wants to see justice while the other is just openly racist. Complaining about the racial makeup of the jury.
This is a racist country. We ain't nothing else to talk about.
This is shit. And I think one of the reasons why they don't go out and riot now is because they know that they would just literally send in the National Guard and suppress them and just totally shut them down, and nobody would care. I think people, like, after seeing so many of these body cam videos, after seeing, like, you know, how many of these, like, oh my God, you know, an innocent guy was killed by a police officer, and then you see him running at the police officer with a knife. You know, it's just like and it makes me wonder, like, how many of those instances before we had body cams were the same thing, but it just got turned into something that it wasn't by the media. I think probably a lot.
One black soul on a jury. An all white jury. As yes, that does seem like a concern we should at least consider until you read exactly why there were no black jurors. As many of the dismissed potential jurors stated they couldn't imagine putting a brother in jail, saying they can't make a decision about somebody so young. One mistake doesn't make you a bad person. And
yeah, it does.
I don't feel comfortable finding an African.
These people ain't never seen no Doctor Who before in their life, bro. These people ain't never. Oh my God. Like, okay, so let's run a hypothetical. So, let's take Castlevania Netflix season 1, Dracula's motivation. Who's the true villains of this story? The citizens of that city or Dracula? Because if you watched or like looked at a YouTube video explaining what went down, I'm telling you right now, all I see is a broken man. I don't see a villain. I see a broken man that had been torn apart spiritually, bro. It's just
American male guilty of murder, as none of those jurors are able to give an unbiased judgment on the case.
And that's right. That's right, guys.
Reasonably should immediately be dismissed from the jury. But instead of blaming those individual jurors for their bias, they again blame racism. As plainly put, placing racists on the jury is their version of justice. As when a guy holds a sign showing Irina Zarutska, someone couldn't help but punch him.
I'm just holding a sign.
And then he immediately hides behind a woman.
immediate pussy behavior that you it's just immediate pussy behavior.
You went and you punched this guy. Like, this dude looks like he could be like a college football player.
Mm-hmm. And then you immediately hide behind a woman. He knew, bro, like, wait, hold on, back up.
And then
Who is this chick particularly? And why would you defend this pussy ass loser? This guy pays for your meals, I guarantee. I gotta let go. Keep going.
immediately hides behind a woman. You went and you punched this guy. Like, this dude looks like he could be like a college football player or like an athlete. And you look like the human version of a virus. And you're gonna go and do this, and you go hide behind a woman. Like a little weasel. Looks like a little weasel.
There was absolutely no reason for that, other than to advertise you have zero self-control, and nobody will be surprised.
And zero survival skills, because that guy could probably lay you out in 18 different ways, bro.
When you too are tried for a violent crime.
Yep.
But then insanely admitting they wish Carmelo killed Austin's twin brother as well.
See, y'all need to see this. Y'all really need to see this. This is the problem you got going on. Yeah? Was that English? They were trying to be.
They wish Carmelo killed Austin's twin brother as well. It's sad to see society slip this far, where we'd like to hear what the other side has to say, but literally nothing can be gained listening to anybody who not only wants to free someone guilty of murder based solely on race, but wishes they murdered more innocent kids based solely on race. So if you appreciate,
because they're psycho racist. That's the reason why. Super simple.
my concise, sometimes lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality. Hopefully I've earned your subscription and you'll subscribe to Decoy.
I like this guy a lot. I've watched his videos for a while. He also streams on Twitch too. I'll give you guys a link and make sure to give him a sub and give him a follow. Oh, he recently hit 1 million subscribers. Holy shit, I didn't even notice that. Decoy Voice, yeah, there it is. And good news coverage, yeah, I guess so. And we gotta go into this one too as well. But I'm gonna look. Maybe I'll look at that one tomorrow. But right now, we will look at.
Damn, man. Now that one was a guy giving his 2 cents on it, but I don't follow most women on anything. So I don't think I ever follow them. So I think maybe like the Dadvocate. I think I don't know if I follow her or if I just check out some of her videos. But I would like to play some shorts real quick. Check this out.
How do you know that it's like Christianity's God? Jastro, his credentials as a scientist are impeccable. And he said himself, being agnostic, he's not even a Christian. He said that all of the essential elements of the Big Bang Theory line up with biblical creation. Because this is how God works. God speaks something, and then science runs to catch up with what he said. Because science doesn't create anything. Science studies creation. Let me just answer a question that I always get. Who created God? Well, I'll say everything that came to be needs a cause. God didn't come to be. God is eternal, the way a lot of people thought the universe was until science disproved it. So God doesn't need a cause or a creator. He is the cause. Go look into it for yourself. Science is great. Evidence is great, and it's very much needed when it comes to seeking the truth. But let me tell y'all something. Evidence is not a substitute for faith. Following God is not a matter of evidence or proof. It's a matter of the will. You have to want to do it, so you can have the peace that you're looking for. And if you don't want to make that choice, no amount of evidence is going to convince you to. You have to want to. Spot on.
Relax, bro.
Spot on. And then So like why do we get to where we are when it comes to these idiotic street protests and things like that? It's because we are trapped in what we call the paradox of want and need. So the want for attention is being mistaken as a need, because if you got the attention that you needed, someone else's life story wouldn't be close to 50%, and let alone over it. And then there's another detail. If their life story was the equivalent of genuine racism, everybody would be on it. More importantly, the white people will be faster on it before even the black people would be. Check this out. I want you to take into account the priorities of our people in this world. Like the Christians are focusing on Christian faith.
God did not write a single page of the Bible. It was written by men, deeply flawed men. This is the most important thing. That is a diagram of every cross-reference in the Bible. It's vast. All right, now what you got there is you have 63,779 connections. That book was written down by 40 different men over 1,500 years across 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa, in 3 different languages, Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. It has one united story. It has 0 contradictions. There's only one answer to how that can happen. It was written down by men. It was authored by the living God.
Why are men so emotionally late?
So, yeah. So in that situation, it's like the amount of commitment to that means they have their own ecosystem. They have their own tribe. They have their own cooperation culture, and they know the difference between cooperation culture versus conflict culture. Now, if we got into a video gamer's headspace of working a basic job, 9 to 5 or what may have you, we need to understand how simplistic the thought wave is. Check this out.
Hey, you need something? Yeah, this isn't right. What's wrong with it? I didn't ask for this. That's what was on the order, sir. No, I didn't choose that. You want me to remake you one or what? No, you don't listen very well. I'm just doing my job. You're here every night, right? Yeah, thought so. Is there anything else I can help you with? You already messed it up. I offered to fix it, dude. Don't raise your voice at me. I'm not. I wish you would. Make my day. I cry tears of joy if you swing on me, on my mama. Please do it. I've been here for 12 straight hours. I wish you would swing on me. I'll push you through that window.
Have you seen this video?
That's just like basic realm of like the work world of like a video gamer. But here's like when, let me find it. Okay. And when it comes to fun, but not having to do with video games itself, check out what we would be willing to go for.
Would you like to invest into this guy's software to get rid of spam calls? Watch.
So I get all these spam calls on this phone number all the time, right? Yeah, a bunch of them, right? So what I've done is I've created a script in JitBit. What this is going to do is it's going to call them back, right?
Okay.
It's going to wait for them to answer.
Thank you for calling Express.
It's going to interact with the prompts automatically. And when they answer, it's going to play Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up. So now, and then he hung up. See, what you don't know about the script, though, is that I have it on repeat. It's a zero loop integer I put in here. So it's going to keep calling them back over and over. It's going to keep doing this forever until they're forced to block my phone number.
Ooh, yes.
Democrats are the party of violence. 100%. And it's time we expose it. The Republican.
See, that's the entertainment outside of video gaming for a video gamer, right? Now, let's get to what we know of when it comes to video gaming itself in our modern day era, because last I checked, Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game. God damn it.
Buying everyday things like ramen can help.
God damn it. Video gaming, the card game, fucking slaps. By the way, what you saw was an ending of a card gaming video where it was Sword Soul, Max Power, up against Branded before the recent release of new support, which was fire. Oh, man. But hey, we also got more things on the way.
Those of you know me, time actually of the mobile game.
And we got a new mobile game on the way, and I'm going to be playing that. You best believe it.
Long amount of timing and a stupid.
So we know the religions, the only religion in the world that was ever true, Christianity, because it's the only, Christianity is real because it's the only religion that the enemy of humanity as a whole, planetarily, is willing to publicly, whether in media or in discussion or in debate or as a means to create an imaginary form of escapism for humanity, is willing to attack. Because light does not attack itself. It has no reason to. Darkness doesn't attack itself. It doesn't have a reason to. Meaning good doesn't have a reason to attack itself. It doesn't have a reason to. And evil doesn't have a reason to attack itself because it doesn't have a reason to. But when it comes down to East meets West, like Christianity spreads its influence through the word, the Holy Trinity. They don't need to raise the sword, even though their God is not a pacifist, and there have been occasions where he told them that they could raise the sword. So don't get it twisted. He ain't a pacifist. He ain't a Gentile or nothing like that. He he has a strict disciplinary system that any father of any household would have for his children. So when it comes to the other side of the aisle doesn't give a fuck about that shit. It's the enemy of humanity versus humanity itself. Why? Because the defeat of humanity is the best way that they could conform. And in order to win that battle, they have to get us to destroy ourselves by surrounding us with evil to such an extent that we can't even tell if it's in our face. The situation here is that, like, we've been desensitized at an extreme level to the point that we don't even comprehend what actual racism is anymore. We don't comprehend law and order the right way anymore. We don't comprehend due process the right way. We don't do the due process. We care about how we feel more than what we actually see and do. And we care about, like, word of mouth from our peers that we would personally choose to tolerate over what is factually true. So the situation here is just like, to end out this stream, the whole point is that I can't rock with all of y'all like that. There has to be a bottom line. There has to be a principle that we hold ourselves accountable for. I'm American. I am Republican. I believe in a nuclear family. I believe in friendships. I believe in competition. I believe in creativity. I believe in accountability and responsibility. I believe in the children are the future, and when the time comes, they get to look back on us and decide if what we did was in the right or in the wrong. Therefore, we should make the world a better place as much as possible. Defend the truth, defend the word. And that when it comes to nations and state and country, just like the animal kingdom, we have to defend our own ecosystem, defend our territory. Because we've seen what happens financially, we've seen what happens in case of this murder case, what happens when we let someone who's not down for upholding those principles into our ecosystem. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I hope your dreams remain forever cheesy.